Hello and welcome back to Radar Festival. I'm here for Devolution magazine and I'm here with the incredible Ithaca.
Yeah.
Hello guys. Would you like to
Hey.
introduce yourself to the lovely people?
And we're up there, right? Hey, hi everybody, I'm Sam.
I'm Will.
And you've just laid waste to the main stage. Absolutely.
generous.
If that's how you want to put it, sure.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Laid waste to my body.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've done. It's my lower back. Sorry, Tony.
Absolutely, really cool performance. And I love the way it sort of seemed to surge to those end two songs.
Oh, nice.
It was just like kind of joyous. Yeah, and your speech before saying about the positivity and coming back from trauma and stuff like sort of struck a chord with me certainly, and certainly with a lot of the audience.
That means so much, man. I'm so glad.
Yeah,
That's great. Yeah.
So is that an overarching sort of message of redemption, rebirth?
100%. 100%. So
Huge
I think,
part of the last album.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we started writing this record, then the pandemic hit, and that required, I mean, for me speaking personally, all of us in our own way, but me personally, what I can speak to is that it required me to confront a lot of things I'd been sat on, and there was just some big, really chunky things that had happened to me in those years leading up to the pandemic, and I think having that time and that space to be like, wow, what is going on? I went to therapy. Like, therapy is not for everybody, but I went to therapy, and it was incredibly, incredibly valuable. I went on like a very difficult but really powerful like healing journey, you could call it. And then by the time we were getting closer to finishing the record, I was like, this is what this is about. Like the angry bits, like the album has this arc of like getting really angry and then doing, as you say, coming out the other side and being a lot more kind of and like optimistic towards the end. And I think it's both, that's the journey that I went on, and it's I think of it as a broader kind of rebuke of what I see as a lot of quite nihilism-driven vibes in people, and like irony poisoning, and that feels like it's infecting a lot of people, and I feel like it's really important for a band like us to actually actively press back on that.
Absolutely.
To have a positive message without being like super corny.
Exactly.
It's quite difficult in metal.
Yeah, exactly.
So the title, You Fear Us, I mean, that's a double-edged sword, really, isn't it? Was it meant to have like several meanings?
It was a statement of intent, really.
100%.
Yeah. As a band that spits, like in your speech, we've been pushing at Heavy Door for like 10, 12 years now, and like sort of getting to the point where we're sort of getting a bit of recognition, like, and also that comes with a bit of pushback, and like, here we are, and this is our planting our flag, and that was part of it.
Exactly. It's the mix of there's a lot of themes in the album around like the divine feminine and standing in the divine feminine as like a form of legitimate power in a way that like stands in contrast to typical masculine power. There's a lot about the album that was about that last decade of a lot of people like giving us a lot of shit. Can I swear on this?
Yeah.
giving us a lot of shit for having a lot of the views that we have, and to be honest, like, even I was just saying this in the last interview, like 10 years ago, like even when we were trying to confront like being like, hey guys, wouldn't it be nice if there were like women and people of colour here? People were like, no, like people would really lose their mind about it.
Yeah.
And to me, like that was a response born not of anger but of fear of like, this
is my space and it doesn't need to change.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't need to change. Just keep doing bullet belt vibes and we'll be fine. And it's like, guys, no, we're on a managed decline pathway here unless we bring more people in. So
that's the meaning I took from it. Was you fear us, you fear change. You fear our multicultural nature.
100%. And us fucking about with metal, like us being like, power ballad. Sorry,
and I love
like,
that.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Thanks, man.
We definitely stand for that at Devolution. So with that in mind, came out a little while ago.
Yeah.
Has work started on the follow-up?
We're noodling around with some new music for sure.
Yeah.
There is some new music we're working on. Exactly like the form it will take. TBC.
TBC.
We're working on stuff. 100%.
Absolutely.
That's about as much as we can say.
Yeah. Well, with such a strong album as that, it's got to be big boots to fill to do a follow-up.
Exactly. I mean, I think the main thing for us is like whatever we did, like we felt not to be knobs, but we felt really, really proud of that record. And for me personally, I feel like it was such a summary of like
Absolutely.
a really neat summary of everything we'd done up to that point. So yeah, we're really thinking incredibly carefully and intentionally about like what we do next. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
'Cause the last, you first, it seemed for me as a listener and as someone who consumes a lot of heavy music, seemed to be, it marked a special point in time for the UK scene where things did start to open up.
100%.
And it was like, I interviewed you at 2000 Trees.
I thought I knew.
Yeah. I had hot sauce then.
Oh,
Not this time.
that's it. That hot sauce was a turn. I'm sorry, but it was so good. Anyway, that's it. Yeah.
But that bill in particular, that 2000 Trees, I just noticed that change was afoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sort of came to fruition this year. Well, not total fruition. There's still work to be done. But I just noticed things were expanding more.
100%.
We had bands like the Menstrual Cramps and what they did this summer, with the Barclays boycott and all that sort of stuff.
100%.
And people are just sort of like, no, we can just do what we want now.
Yeah, I mean, that's all part of what you're saying in your speech. It's like it's acknowledging as well that work has been done and change has been sort of achieved to a certain point. And it's like, it's really nice to see more diverse bills. I mean, we were always kind of the odd one out in the first sort of 5-6 years of being a band, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
And yes, obviously there's more work to do.
Yes.
And, and
Always.
that's it. Isn't it?
And I think people, what's really exciting is, and what we're trying to say in that stupid speech that I give is that like, that didn't happen because, to quote Kamala Harris, that didn't fall out of a coconut tree. That didn't just happen out of nowhere.
Yeah.
All the bands who you're talking about worked fucking hard to like push back on a lot of like derisory, like literally people being like, "What is this?"
Absolutely.
And people would genuinely, with their whole chest back then, say to us like, "Oh, I thought you were going to be shit, but you were really good." You know what I mean? Like people literally thought like, and he's like, "Okay, thanks." Like, that's where we were. Like that's where we were, and we all were like, "No, we're just going to keep plowing away and fighting for what we're fighting for, and keep releasing music and ignoring." And so we're at this next stage now where we've made enormous progress, and the next phase will also require work. It's not about like leaning back and being like, "Okay, brilliant, we've made remarkable progress and we're done." The next bit is, for me, the more interesting bit, which is like, redistribution of power and resources, more access to like mentoring, access to other spaces, all this kind of stuff, which is the real like long-term work of keeping our scene alive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking as I'm the father of a trans, my son's trans.
Oh, wow.
And the difference in his world I've seen over the last 10 years,
Massive.
huge, and he's able to be who he wants to be now. It's a wonderful thing. But I can remember not so long ago the heavy metal scene in particular,
right?
Naming no names, but it's still now. There's still artists who still make horrible lyrics about it and stuff like that. 100%. There's a lot of work to be done. And it's been encouraging over the last year where we've seen like the queercore scene,
that's it,
like blossoming.
100%.
Bands like Shooting Daggers doing really well. Bands like Death Goals.
Yes.
All of these bands really making a difference.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time, essentially.
It is.
It's fabulous.
It's great to see sort of lineups like, or even like the one here, just far more diverse, far more interesting.
Yeah.
Far more.
And like, you're not just seeing 4 or 5 bands in a row who sound the same.
No.
Yeah.
Just so much better for
dudes in
punters.
plaid. Like this is what it was in 2012. It was just
really
dudes
was,
in plaid all day, and it's like, can we just? I mean, on a kind of even on a musical, like, can we not just do better? Like, can we not just try harder? And it's just like the same people. You know what I mean? It's just like,
I was talking to someone very inspirational the other day, who you'll see soon, who was saying about Buzz from the Melvins.
Oh, yeah.
Had a term that he said he saw himself as a musical anthropologist
that's
rather than a musician. Because there's that many different types of music, and you wouldn't pigeonhole yourself. So you're a musical anthropologist. I thought it was a wonderful term, and I think in the music scene as it stands right now, I think a lot of people are engaging in musical anthropology.
For sure, that's timely because the genre boundaries are collapsing, really, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Like, and we were just, like the kind of people just don't listen to. People are not just sort of like metalheads in the way they were, right? Like the people who like Adam Neely and Conjurer and whatever Pliny or whatever, like that's the same person, or like Denzel Curry and Military Gun. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't think. You know.
If
you
you
get
see
the idea.
like Outbreak Festival, for instance.
Exactly,
or
that's what I
whatever,
was thinking of.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
Like these are the Venn diagrams that bookers are finally getting more creative and being like, this is where like that intersects, which means much more representative, interesting lineups. And it means you don't have to suffer through 12 dudes in plaid all day.
Yeah, you can spend your £100 and think, no, you're going to get your £100 worth.
Exactly.
for sure.
You know, you'll. I don't know if it's the advent of Spotify and stuff
think
like
it's a
that.
big- streaming is part of it, for sure.
If you're going to take a pro from Spotify, it's that my son now can walk around with a history of music in his pocket.
That's it.
Of course.
Whereas we could buy an album every month.
100%.
Tenner that we'd saved up.
A minimum. Like, I remember I bought Master of Puppets for 15 quid, and I was like heartbroken.
Jesus
I was
Christ.
like,
Well, at least it was a classic.
it's
Well,
true,
you'd
at
have to
least
save
it's a
your
good
pocket
one.
money up and go and you'd have to pick it and
Yeah.
I was vindicated because at least it was Master of Puppets.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
It was like,
you chose well,
at
but
least I
like,
got a
you
really
know.
good album.
Oh,
I made some
definitely-
real shockers though.
I
Some
blew
like
15 quid on
absolute
some
new metal
shite,
shockers. Yeah.
Well, you go to the record shop and you have to do the whole thing with the surly guy behind the counter. Oh, you don't know them.
Yeah.
And then you get it home and it's just like, oh.
Not their best album, mate. Like,
come on,
like,
you don't like this. You don't like this. You like this. Yeah.
Well, now I can't wait for this next album. It's going to be quite something, and that was a glorious performance.
Thank you.
I hope you have a wonderful rest of the year. In whatever you're doing, have you got any more gigging coming up, or
Not this
really,
year,
no.
actually.
No?
No, we're hunkering down basically.
that's it now?
Yeah.
wonderful, and what a way to sign off.
Mate,
Wow.
truly, it was a really lovely show today. So,
Awesome. Well, thank you for being with me
man.
today,
Pleasure.
and
Thanks, man.
I'll see you on the flip side.